Iran is attempting to break the Strait of Hormuz.
U.S. forces struck Iran for a 12th straight night. According to CENTCOM, the focus of these strikes was once again on degrading Iran's ability to target vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM released a statement saying more than 50,000 U.S. service members are operating across the Middle East and remain highly vigilant, focused, lethal, and ready. This follows a new warning from President Trump on Wednesday when he posted to Truth Social saying from this point forward, anytime Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran.
So now what's
While no vessels were attacked in the Strait overnight, a Saudi-owned oil tanker was targeted in the Red Sea by Houthi forces in Yemen.
That's
President
bad
Trump
news.
spoke yesterday from Georgia about the ongoing conflict and the possibility of negotiations.
They're trying to widen the conflict.
They're getting hit so hard, and they want to make a deal. But I say they're not ready to make a deal. Because every time they make a deal, they want to change it and everything. They're not ready. They'll be ready very soon.
But what did we hear from the fake news media? Oh, Iran has tricked Trump. Oh, nobody working with Trump has any plan. They don't understand who they're dealing with. These people are idiots. They've gotten us into a forever war. Well, is that really true? Watch this.
Okay, these people who are calling us every day begging, let's do a deal. They send us messages through other countries, third countries. I mean, they're running out of countries to send. Even I had countries here coming up to me. Oh, I just spoke to the Iranians. They want to do a deal. The problem is every time these people do a deal, they either break it or after they make it, they want to change the deal. So they're probably not ready to do a deal yet, but they will be soon. Because the price they're paying is very high, despite their tough talk and their flowery language and their stupid Lego videos they put out. I've never seen them, but they put these things out on social media. Despite all that bravado.
It sounds like the U.S. administration thinks there can be peace, just not, well, a military that was built up over many years with the help of various appeasing U.S. presidents still wants something that's not very good for the world at all. Watch.
Overnight, Iran launched new attacks against U.S. bases in Kuwait, with additional attacks expected today.
Terrible.
Sirens were sounding earlier in Bahrain.
Trey, any word from the Saudis on two of their ships being hit? Have they commented?
Yeah, they hit Saudi tankers. This is wild.
They've not yet commented, but this is certainly an escalation because it means it's not just rhetoric from the Houthis in Yemen. And Secretary of State Rubio spoke earlier specifically about the threat from the Houthis. And he said, look, they're getting dragged into this conflict by Iran. They were smart to stay out of Operation Epic Fury. But if they get more directly involved, the possibility of U.S. or Israeli strikes against the Houthis is certainly on the table. We've seen it before.
And that might be what Iran wants. They think that having this conflict get wider and having more countries get dragged into it gives them some sort of leverage over the entire world. Strait of Hormuz over here, but oil production can also travel through the Red Sea, where there could be other problems, and this is where these other tankers are getting hit, these Saudi Arabian tankers. So now you have an even wider conflict if the Houthis jump in. But as you're about to see, that might be a big mistake. Look at this.
The Houthis claiming attacks on two Saudi oil tankers as the Iran-backed group's blockade threatens shipping in the Red Sea, forcing other oil tankers to change course. Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaking about the attacks this morning. Listen to this.
Look, I hope that they'll stop. They shouldn't really do that. They got suckered into this by the Iranians. You know, the Houthis largely were smart and stayed out of all this throughout the conflict. But they now apparently have gotten themselves suckered into this, going after Saudi Arabia and their ships. I hope that will de-escalate because I think the Houthis, frankly, got snookered into this thing by the Iranians.
Everyone needs to de-escalate.
And a U.S.-based risk advisor focused on Yemen said the attacks could prompt a military response by Saudi Arabia, an Iranian adversary that has relied on Red Sea routes in recent months to export millions of barrels of oil. Senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, Rebecca Heinrich, joins me now. Rebecca, there's really two parts to this, and Marco Rubio, he touched on the first part. You know, really, Iran is now having the Houthis do their dirty work by...
And those two parts both have to do with one thing. As oil gets out of this area of the world without Iran's permission, the leverage they keep claiming that they have and that they keep trying to use as a stick to hammer the rest of the world, everyone sees they don't actually have that leverage, and that is weakening them. Check this out.
Right. So the Houthis are an Iranian proxy group. So they're funded and they're paid for by the Iranians. And so part of the United States' objective in degrading the Iranian military so much and squeezing them economically is to make sure that they cannot fund and support all these other arms of their operations to destabilize the rest of the Middle East. And so far, as Secretary Rubio said, the Houthis have largely stayed out of this fight, which has been hugely helpful. And so for the Houthis to now be joining into this, they're clearly doing it at the direction of the Iranians. And they are an enemy of Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia in the past has been the one who's worked with the United States to take out the Houthis along the Red Sea to make sure the Red Sea stays open. So this is an escalation. Again, though, I would put the blame on the part of the Iranians.
Of course.
And I'll get to.
And it's an escalation that could backfire in a big way, because what is this going to do? This is going to take Saudi Arabia, who's already sick of their ships getting attacked, and it's going to push them further away from Iran and further towards who? The U.S. and to Israel. At the exact same time, we're learning a big lesson here, aren't we? Because after appeasing Iran for decades and giving them deals and working with them and letting them play their games and lie to the world, what did they do? They built up a massive conventional military capability that we're now seeing still exists. But what's the president's next move? After all, he said if attacks on shipping keep happening, the United States will be forced to respond.
Going to respond by hitting a power plant.
That's right. And the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, where the Houthis seem to control right now, that's responsible for 10% of the world's oil. So we heard about the Strait of Hormuz, responsible for 20% of the world's oil. This is why you're seeing oil prices go up.
All right, so let's take a look at the power plants and places that we might be able to hit. Lucas, as you see these as targets, what do you think we might hit first?
Well, I don't know if we'll hit it first, but the Damavad plant supplies 40% of Tehran's electricity. The Bashir nuclear power plant, probably not likely a target. The Russians built this. They still supply Iran with low-enriched uranium.
Because, Lucas, we should say there's a risk to blowing up a nuclear plant.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Now, the South Pars gas field, this sits on the largest natural gas field in the world. Israeli forces hit this on March 18th, in the beginning of the war.
Wow.
Iran responded by hitting the Qatari side of this natural gas field. In terms of targets.
But let me ask you, here, this is the Strait.
Yeah, this is the Strait of Hormuz
so
right here.
If we want to send a message in the Strait where they're hitting ships in the Strait, wouldn't that be a place we go?
It would. The only question is what would be Iran's response. We've seen Iran hit back in Qatar's oil field, natural gas oil fields in the UAE. That's the big thing.
You mean they'll have a like response? If we hit a power plant,
no question. That's been this tit for tat the whole time. That's what's notable about the Israelis. They use disproportionate responses. Probably one of the reasons that Israel hasn't re-entered the war. Iran has not attacked Israel since early June.
And your assessment of how we're doing it now, do you think we're doing disproportionate? Or do you think we could be doing?
Not doing disproportionate.
You know, President Trump has been saying for a while that he doesn't want to have to go down this road of disproportionate responses. But if Iran is going to threaten ships that are being run by people who have nothing to do with this conflict and are just trying to go to work and to feed their families, they are creating a humanitarian crisis. And the president says if they're going to create a humanitarian crisis and they're going to go after people who are innocent and have nothing to do with this, he has no choice but to go after the architecture that powers this regime and gives them the electricity and gives them the ability to move weapons around their country and plan attacks and carry them out. That cannot continue. They cannot be allowed to threaten the entire world, which is what they want to do. That's why they're trying to open up this new front in the Red Sea. They're trying to get the price of oil up. 20% of the oil Strait of Hormuz, another 10% over there in the Red Sea. They're trying to take on 30% of the world's oil, get that up so high that the world looks at this and says, Trump, what are you doing? That the American voters look at this and say, Trump, what are you doing? You're ruining the economy. You're ruining our lives. I was paying $3.50 for gas last week. Now I'm paying $5.50 for gas. But as you're about to see, they have no way to keep the oil price high, and it's going to keep coming down in spite of everything that they do. Look at this.
About the price of oil.
Yes.
And the price of gas, more to the point. Well over $4 a gallon again. That, I think, is a political problem for the president. Does this leach out into the rest of the economy, raising the inflation rate elsewhere? When's it going to come down?
If you listen to the woke channels on your TV set, guess what? Oh, the inflation is going to go up, and we're not going to drop interest rates. That was under the Biden administration. That it goes up, it stays up. This is a temporary problem, whether it's a 2-week problem, a 3-week problem, or a 4-week problem. That's what it's about. It's not a 3-month problem. And right now they are in Pakistan. The Iranian foreign ministers in Pakistan begging to have peace talks. Rubio has made a statement an hour ago saying until they're really serious, we're not going to have peace talks. So guess what? there might be an announcement over the weekend saying we're going to sit down again. And you know what happens? It went up $20 a barrel in the last 2-3 weeks. It'll go down $20 a barrel in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, but will the price of gas go well below $4 a gallon?
Absolutely.
Some of us have been out there buying gas for less than $4 a gallon recently. The swings are insane. I thought I was saving money 2-3 weeks ago, and now this week I'm like, man, I should have bought extra gas a few weeks ago. But the price fluctuates. It's quick. It changes rapidly. But what about this idea that inflation and affordability are all Trump's fault? What about that? Is that a real idea, or is that just some sort of scam by the party that created all of this nightmare and now wants to bring socialism into our country?
This is the total inflation since January of 2019.
This is Newsmax.
Nearly 30% increase since 2019. Your dollar from January of 2019 is worth 70 cents today.
That's crazy.
That's the pain. So let's break down where the bulk of that pain came from. You see this line right here? That's where Trump 45 left office and Biden came in. Carry that over to the next line. This is all Biden's presidency. And this is where Trump came back in. So this is a 22% rise.
That's crazy.
During Joe Biden for the cost to live. Now, this 2.7%
it's
number,
inconsequential.
That's what they're talking about. This represents the part of the graph for the number that came out today, which all things considered is pretty good, even though it outperformed the estimates of supposed to be 3.1%. And the left wants to make it Trump's tariffs are to blame for this 22% inflation that happened before the tariffs.
Because the reason is affordability in America is the fault of what you see on the screen right here. It hasn't gotten anything to do with anything Trump has done. Trump is responsible for 2.7% inflation. Is inflation a problem? Yeah. Do both political parties need to care about affordability in order to win? Absolutely. But who caused the unaffordability crisis? Not the guy who's responsible for 2.7%. And the fascinating thing about this is they're saying that, oh, it's Trump's tariffs. It's Trump's forever war. No.
See, Trump has actually brought some prices back down to almost where they were before Biden.
Like
and in some sectors like gas and things like that.
Yeah.
Here are some real world examples of everyday items that you buy in the grocery store. So these are the prices that were before Biden. So this is before Biden took office when it was Trump's first term. And here are the prices after Biden. So this is right when Biden was leading office.
That's crazy.
This is what the price of these items cost here.
Yep.
So if you take a look at this, it's exactly as the video said. It's about a 20% or so increase in price. Some of them vary very wildly because of the shortages and things like that. But overall, you're looking at exactly what was being talked about. So all of this, and this expands much further than these items.
And this is the political party that wants to run on communism because they say, oh, you can't afford anything because the system is rigged. Well, who rigged the system? They rigged the system against the little guy by destroying the country's economy. And now they're saying, well, the only way to fix the country is to punish people and to take the things that somebody else is able to earn and that they work hard for and to redistribute that to bring down these high prices and to help people afford their rent and to help people afford gas. No, those are not solutions. And the crazy thing is that while Trump is out there in what is now a humanitarian operation, if Iran wants to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz that are run by innocent people, now we've got a humanitarian crisis. And we've got the President of the United States going out there to take away a regime's ability to threaten 30% of the world's oil. Threats against 30% of the world's oil are unaffordable by definition. That's the whole reason you'd threaten 30% of the world's oil, not to make the price go down, but to make it go as high as possible.
It went up $20 a barrel in the last 2-3 weeks. It'll go down $20 a barrel in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, but will the price of gas go well below $4 a gallon?
Absolutely. The reaction time might be 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, but there will be a reaction time.
When do you think it's going to get, say, $3.50? When are we going to get there? When the price of oil drops to $65 a gallon, a barrel?
I'm the first one that predicted 2 months ago on Maria's show that it was going to be down to 65, and it went down to 67 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah, now it's bounced right back up again.
Well, it goes up in 2 weeks, goes down in 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay.
But it's a temporary situation.
Okay.
And a temporary situation like this is not something that leads to endless unaffordability. That, as we just saw, is the fault of the party that is now running against unaffordability and is now out there saying that if we don't punish people who are successful, like the grocery store guru right here, if we don't go after him and take away his grocery stores and build a free grocery store to compete with him and take away his 2% profit that he makes selling vegetables to New Yorkers, that, oh, our country's gonna fall apart, our country's gonna be destroyed, and that's why you need to elect us, that's why you need to bring us in, because we understand you, we care about you. No, they don't. And by the way, these are the same people that would like to see these regimes stay in power. Regimes don't create affordability. Whether they're a communist regime in America taking over these sanctuary cities, whether it's a regime that wants to threaten the supply of a worldwide commodity because it gives them leverage and because they think it makes them powerful and makes them respected and helps them get their way on a geopolitical stage. No, this type of corruption, whether you're voting for it at home or whether it's threatening that one day it is going to rise up and defeat you abroad, I mean, none of this is good for the average working person. And when America votes in the midterm elections, boy, we have a big decision to make, don't we? Ted Cruz came out and he said something that was like, look, there's all these people celebrating that America's political enemies are crazy. He said, I'm not celebrating that. Look, I'm not celebrating that either. Everybody thought Mamdani was a joke until he was the mayor of New York City. And now he's the leader of the entire Democrat Party. What do you think about that? What do you think about the situation in the Middle East? I hope there is peace soon. I'll see you in the next video.